just getting a train from my local railway station, Holdfield Park in Bath. This will take me up to Gloucester, where I've got a 20-minute change. Then I'm going to get on a cross-country service from Gloucester, 2 stops up the line, Worcestershire Parkway. Then I'm heading into the Welsh borders. Today I'm going to go to 2 thankful villages. They're the villages where everybody returned safely from the First World War. And then I'm going to curve round in almost like a big C shape, backtrack on myself, just south of Hereford, on a lovely bend on the River Wye. I've got a 13th century church all to myself tonight, so it should be a great little trip.
Good morning and warm welcome to those joining the service there at Gloucester.
It's now 9:20. I've just arrived at Worcestershire Parkway. It's a bit like a mini version of Bristol Parkway. It's deserted this time of the day. Actually, I imagine it's very busy at rush hour. I'm keen to sort of get on my way, find out which way I'm going, because at the moment I'm just in a really big car park, and I'm heading basically over into Wales, then down the border in a big sort of C shape through these 2 thankful villages, and finishing tonight at St Cuthbert's Church. The reason I got the train to Worcestershire Parkway was I wanted to start as early as possible, and that's the earliest train. In hindsight, I think that was a mistake. I should have just got a later train into the middle of Worcester and got out much easier, because in effect what I've done is tried to follow a ring road round, and the cycle paths were just so complicated. In the end I just main roaded it really, and I'm now just turning onto this really nice quiet country lane, having got off some pretty nasty busy roads. I mean, I try not to get too stressed out. It's easier said than done, but I just always say to myself, it's okay to make mistakes, you know, that's how you learn and evolve. I mean, if people didn't make mistakes and have failures, there'd be no pacemakers or post-it notes, or WD-40 would be called WD-1, you know. Anyway, hopefully some quieter roads now as I pass the outskirts of Worcester, head over towards the borders. Now on much quieter country roads, get an idea. Surrounding countryside. Now on this lovely minor road, this glorious rolling countryside. Whether I'm still in Worcestershire or Herefordshire yet, I'm not sure, but I'm just really enjoying this. As I was coming along there, you could smell cut grass, but as I passed some woodland, you couldn't see it, but you could really smell the garlic. Absolutely wonderful, and the rape fields are just looking and smelling so good at the moment. Now appears to be climbing up to Team Valley. Look at all this wonderful countryside, lovely fields of rape. After weeks of rain and strong winds, suddenly spring seems to be here in all its glory. The rape, the bluebells, the smells of the garlic and everything, the cut grass, just a bird song all around me. 12:30 and I'm on this delightful road along here. It's quite rolling, but the progress is quite good, not much wind. When you go up it's not very far, and then you go down, which looks like we're going to. I just thought I'd stop here and just check the route, because I know the first of the thankful villages, Middleton on Hill, I seem to remember it's 32 miles. I'm now on 28, so it's going to be a good place to stop for lunch. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't ride through it and miss it. That would be embarrassing, but it's at 32 miles. Another 4 miles and we'll have some lunch. It's 1:15. I'm about 3 or 4 miles past Tenbury Wells. I'm guessing that's the spa town in Herefordshire. I've just reached the first of today's 2 thankful villages. This is Middleton on the Hill. It's just basically a dogleg off this lovely quiet Herefordshire lane. I'm going up to the 12th century church of St Mary the Virgin. Lovely network of quiet lanes. I've just come down this dead end, doing this dogleg here to this 12th century church, St Mary the Virgin. I have my lunch in there, and at each of the thankful villages my darling wife Linda has knitted me these lovely woolen poppies. I'm not going to tie them anyway, I'm just going to leave them. Tying them just feels too much like sort of littering or vandalism. If they want to be removed, that's fine, or if they want to be kept taken, I really don't care. I just want to leave them as a mark of respect. What I've found since I started visiting these thankful villages It seems that in 2014, to mark the centenary of the start of the First World War, slate plaques were put in each of the villages, and they're normally at the churches, not always, but normally, or they may be on like a village green or a little remembrance garden, that sort of thing. So I'm going to go in here and see if I can find the slate plaque, leave my poppy somewhere discreet, and sit down on that seat and have my lunch. Let's go and have a look inside the church, see if I can locate the slate memorial plaque. Wow, the beautiful location. I think I've just spotted the plaque. Middleton on the Hill, 1914 to 2014, a thankful village. I discovered visiting these thankful villages. There's 54 in total. I'm going to 2 today. Leaving St Mary the Virgin Church, this is about it really. Just a few very grand looking houses, farm, and then the road back to that in itself was a minor road, so I came in that way, came up here, I'm going to backtrack where that car is, turn right, and my next village, Knill, is at 53 miles, so about another 20 miles, so hopefully about 4 o'clock, something like that. It's just gone 4 p.m. and I've arrived at the second of today's 2 thankful villages, Knill. I hope that's how you pronounce it. It's spelled K-N-I-L-L. And this afternoon's been quite a hard ride. You'll probably gather that from the landscape. Whereas this morning was agricultural, this afternoon's just been quite hilly, clearly on the borders. The hill lines are spectacular actually. This is the church. I'm just going to wander in there and see if I can find the plaque and leave my poppy. Just give you an idea of how hilly it is. Gosh, that really steep hill up there. Here's the porch, let's hope we can get in. Oh, this is delightful, look at this. Yes. There's the plaque. It's just gone 4 p.m. I'm at my second thankful village. I'm in the church at Knill. Hope that's how you pronounce it. K-N-I-L-L. I've just located the slate plaque. There we are. I've left my poppy there by the flower vase. It's been quite hard work this afternoon. Look how hilly it is. Just walk back a little bit just to give you an idea of just what a beautiful location this is. I was hoping to break the ride into about 3 chunks this morning till lunch to the first thankful village. Here for sort of mid-afternoon, I'm a little bit behind where I anticipated, and then the final section, it will be the afternoon and evening ride. I'm ETAing myself at the Champion Church at 7 p.m. I've got nearly all on my food. I need to pass through Hereford. It's about 6 miles before the church. All I need to do is pick up some beer and some bread rolls. What a stunning location, eh? Just going to chill out on that seat for a little bit and just take this all in and enjoy the moment. I came into Hereford on quite a busy road. I saw a co-op and I thought I'd dive over there got myself some beer, a load of chocolate. I forgot to pick up bread rolls. That's by the by. And then straight afterwards, I got signposted on this network of cycle paths. I remember this from before. It's really good. Gets you through the town centre without all the traffic lights, because it is sort of rush hour-ish. I've got 5.5 miles to go. We're here. This is it. Wow. Right down the end of a no through road, just ends at that house. Wow. It's been quite hard this afternoon. I managed to get myself some bread. St Cuthbert, Holme Lacey. This church is cared for by the Church's Conservation Trust. Although no longer needed for regular worship, it remains a consecrated building, a part of England's history, maintained for the benefits of this and future generations. A quick recap of the final hour or so. I took a main road-ish into Hereford. There were times when some lanes bypassed it or ran parallel to it, but a lot of it was coming in on main road, which actually sort of worked in my favour, helped me sort of claw back some time. Then I got to a co-op at the outskirts of Hereford, dived in, got myself some beer, some chocolate, came out, suddenly realised I'd forgot bread. I just couldn't be bothered to go back in. Almost instantly got on those amazing cycle paths that sort of like take you through the middle of Hereford without all the traffic and the traffic lights, so that was good. And then I came out like through industrial estates, and then it just got really nice and rural. And then you come into Holme Lacey, and then you're turned off down a right hand turn, and then you even turn off that down this no through road. Signposted historic church, and here we are, 7:20. Let's get in and get myself inside. Well, I'm at my destination, St Cuthbert's Church at Holme Lacey. This is absolutely fantastic. All three churches today have been sublime, they really have. I've got myself in the church. I won't say how, but they give you all the details when you book it. If you've booked an Airbnb, you'll be familiar with that sort of thing. There's my loo for the night. Not far to walk if I have to get up in the night. Such a stunning location. Anyway, let me give you a quick guided tour. Coming through this utility area. There's all glasses, coffee, tea, it's kettle. All the water's supplied for you, plenty of spares. Supplied by one of their partner charities, WaterAid, I think. Give you a camp bed, hot water bottle, loads of chairs. They make it ever so nice with all these flickering lights. I've worked out where all the light switches are apart from one, which is these. There's my bike there. And they just, they deck it out really nice with all these flickering lights and the battery operated flickering candles. I was going to sleep over here tonight, but there's a bit of green mould there, as you can see. I'm not quite sure if that'd be healthy, sleeping and breathing that in. But they've even got some candles in these cages. Call me a child, but I bought my cloak and my hands with the skeletal luminous fingers and a mask, so I'll be walking around the churchyard holding that tonight. Wow, just coming back into the church to get my tripod and some lights. Just look how cosy that looks. The moon rising above there. The sunset is starting to darken. I'm just sat out in the churchyard with my beer, just reflecting back on the day, thinking what a fantastic experience it's been. There's almost a full moon up there. It's gibbous, it's not quite full actually, so that's reassuring. And also, one of the churches I was looking around earlier on, I was wandering around the churchyard and a crow barked out really loud above me. Gosh, that didn't have to make me jump actually. Round here it's all really nice small bird song, swallows I think. What I will say is, champing used to be about the price for Travelodge, it's cheaper during the week compared to a weekend, but there's no seasonal differences. It's a set rate for all through the year. But what they have introduced this year is a £20 surcharge for solo campers, and when I first read that I thought, oh, that's disappointing really. And then I just thought about it overnight and thought, no, I'm happy with that actually, for two reasons really. First of all, I've come to really love camping, as you could probably gather. I don't do it that often, so I can afford it. And secondly, it's a charity. My money's going towards preserving these historic churches at risk for future generations. And so, because of that charitable status, I'm actually happy with it. But I will make that clear that the price has gone up this year for solo campers. I'm sat out in the churchyard with my lantern, just really enjoying the moment, looking up at that moon. It's gone 11 p.m. I've sort of always been an early riser for work really, but consequently it means I go to bed normally early, so this is quite a late night for me, and I'm actually in no hurry whatsoever, just sitting enjoying my beer. I've got the church until 10 a.m. tomorrow, so the arrangement is you have the church from 4 p.m. onwards. It's open to the public during the day, and so I've got it until 10 a.m. tomorrow. So I'm in absolutely no hurry really to go to bed. I probably won't even bother setting the alarm. I'll just wake up naturally with daylight. Tomorrow I'm riding from here to Ashchurch and Tewkesbury railway station, then I'll get the train a couple of stations down to Yates, and then it's a fairly easy ride back from there, quite close to Bartopus, the bike track. I'll ride home from there. That's hopefully be home by tea time. But I haven't really bothered looking at the route too much, or even the train times for that matter. I try to keep each day separately, that way you don't get overwhelmed by the long distances or the long tours. But today was quite challenging in 3 chunks at times. So I do know it's 31 miles from here to the station tomorrow. I don't even know if it's hilly. I won't even bother looking at the route until, when I'm making me coffee and eating my cereal in the morning. And I do know the trains are every 2 hours, round about 11, 1, 3 something, 3:10, 3:12, 3:20, whatever. Again, haven't even bothered thinking about that too much. I'll probably aim for the 3 p.m. one maximum really, because I want to try and avoid rush hour. I got the train line up, so I haven't even booked a ticket. I'll book that much nearer the time. But at the moment, I'm just really, really enjoying this sort of, just no hurry to go bed whatsoever. It's just such a beautiful place this. It really, really is nice. Back in the church, it's getting on for midnight. I found all the light switches. They were all down by the door actually. Doesn't this look pretty and nice? Outside, all the windows that side are looking really nice. I may wander around the church the other side actually and see what that looks like in the dark. That's my bed. Put my sleeping bag out to loft up. I bought my sleeping mat, but I don't think I'm going to use it. It's handy just in case I do. But I have got a cotton liner and a pillow, so hopefully that's going to be warm enough. It doesn't feel cold here at all. It feels really, really nice. When I was going around trying all the light switches, I got right down the bottom. All of the ones I couldn't find was this line. And I saw a light switch down there, what I thought was a light switch. I pressed it and it started pumping some air into the organ. I thought, oh no. So I quickly switched that off. But yeah, doesn't it look pretty in there? I'll take some photographs in the morning. Oh gosh, I've just noticed that really. I don't know what all the names of these things are for. To be honest, it's I don't really want to either. I made a huge mistake when I was younger. I used to love looking at the stars, and I taught myself about astronomy, and I killed my interest for several years. It really taught me a lesson. Sometimes when you love things just for the beauty and the awe, try not to learn too much about it, because it just takes the love away from you. It took me about 15 or 20 years to enjoy looking at the stars again. So I just love this place, and to be honest, I don't really want to know what all the names are. I don't want to know too much. I just want to really just enjoy the beauty of it. It's just coming up to 6 a.m. and I've been up about half an hour. I got to bed eventually last night after working it. I just switched all the lights off and turning off all the battery powered rows of flickering lights and the candles. You know, just that took quite a while. And I realised there's a master switchboard down near the door. That's why I was walking around last night trying to find all the individual light switches, and even then there was one I couldn't find. They're all down by the door, and that just instantly floods the church with light. As it got dark last night, it was wonderful just sort of seeing all the windows light, and I walked around the front and that was really nice. Got to sleep quite quickly and just woke up this morning naturally, as I thought I would do. Not by the light, by the actual dawn chorus. Very, very loud, even in the church. And I've just bought myself a coffee up here, sit on that marvellous seat. The final running last night, whatever time it was, as the sun was getting low, was just absolutely wonderful. As I said, I come out of Hereford through industrial estates, and then there's like a little mini roundabout, and you just instantly got on a nice quiet road. And then as you pass through the village of Holme Lacey, you turn off down a residential street, and then that got quieter and it started heading out of town. Then there's this turning, just said ancient church. It's just like a farm road, a bit bumpy in places, got to pass by some farm vehicles, and this is where it leads, just ends here at this farm. High trees, that old tractor out there with their gates, and then here's the church here. I could see the church tower, not clearly, just sticking above the trees every now and again, so I knew I was homing in. And I had that wonderful, looking at the Garmin, you know, 1 mile to go, 0.9, 0.8, and that just always gives you a real buzz, big dopamine lift, especially after quite a hard day actually. At this location is a Commonwealth war grave. Just arriving here was just, last night, it was just always arriving at a destination is good, but this was just, super good. And then you're still surrounded by all these hills, and the River Wye's not far away. You're on a bend. I looked at the map. There's just graves and monuments everywhere. I just sat over on my seat there. And that's why I spent a good few hours last night just looking up at the church. It got dark. I did bring my action camera to put around my chest, so hopefully I got some moving shots from yesterday, but I was also going to time lapse it as it got dark, and I just totally forgot. I always forget something. Here we are, steaming cup of coffee on my bench, just charging devices. Just sat out on this seat here under the tree. Even this is really well thought out and nice. They just give you these mats to sit on because the bench is quite mossy. Just sat with my first coffee of the morning. got to bed eventually after switching all the lights off last night, about midnight, and I slept right through to this morning. In fact, it's the dawn course that woke me up about 5:15, so I've been up about 40 minutes now. Just been looking at my route and checking train times, you know, sort of making a bit of a mental map for today, a plan. I'm going to stay here right till 10 o'clock because that gives me 5 hours to get between here and my station, which is 31 miles, so barring accidents and illness, that's doable. I just want full fat value, excuse me, I just want the full fat value of this champing experience. A couple of funny anecdotes from yesterday, actually. People sometimes say to me, don't you find staying in churches spooky? And I always sort of say, no, not at all. You know, they're places of celebration, aren't they? Christenings and weddings and all that. Yeah, they're associated with that. A couple of incidents made me really jump yesterday. All three churches have been very remote and quiet. Been the only person there, the only person in the visitors book for about a week. And I was just walking back from one of them yesterday, from the church back to my bike under a tree, and this crow barked, and that really made me jump. And then last night when I got here, I was just trying to familiarise myself with everything, get my bearings, and I was looking for the light switches because it was quite dark inside. I just knew I needed to bathe it in light. And I was going around pressing all individual light switches, and like rows of lights would come on, but I just could not locate the switch for the central aisle. And I was trying everything I could find, and I pressed this one, and it was like a pump for the organ, and the sort of organ ground. It was just like burst into life just for a split second, actually, like really made me jump. And actually last night I found the control panel by the south entrance, the main visitors entrance, and that just does everything, you know, so that was a bit of a wasted effort last night on my part, but it certainly made me jump. Anyway, I'm going to finish this coffee, probably put the kettle on for a second one, then think about having my breakfast. I've now come round to the south side of the church, which looks like the main entrance, but you know, it's hard to imagine that led anywhere. You may see the farmhouse in the background. Here's some agricultural noise, tractors and that, surrounded by this big sort of sea of rapeseed. I love that this time of the year. And then I've just found what looks like the main entrance, what would have been the main entrance. Here, look. A few more graves. And there's what I'd imagine would have been the entrance in the olden days. So whether that led on to an estate, I'm not sure. So champers have access round the back, the north face, which is sort of feels more natural these days. So this is sort of interesting, just seeing it from a different perspective, really. I've stayed at 3 champing churches now. So the first one was Edinburgh, very close to where I live. Because it was all new to me, I just wasn't sure what to expect. Always a bit concerned when I'm not 100% sure I'd get in. So there was always that danger that if it all went south, you know, I could just hop on my bike and ride home. But that was a fantastic experience. I've ridden by it so many times. And then last year I rode down to Langport. That was visiting some thankful villages en route. But I think at this moment in time, this has been my favourite one up to now, just because of the location. You can hear the birdsong in the trees everywhere. It's just absolutely glorious here, which is why I want to stay as long as I possibly can. It's 8:20 now, and I've started to get myself organised. Even though I've got an hour and a half, I just want to spend as much time as possible out in that seat without sort of thinking, oh, I've got to go and pack up. So I've started to prepare things out, all my food stuff, other sort of things, charging devices. There's all my clothes ready for later on. I've taken my sleeping bag and inner liner and packed it away. So there's everything else in layers. Just look at that lovely window there. When I switched everything off last night, because of the moon, I think there was probably light coming in through that window, but that was all. Otherwise it's really dark in here, which really helped me get off the organ that I activated. I've got nowhere near that switch this morning. And I was trying to describe, I was looking for all these light switches to activate the lights, and they were randomly around on the pillars. Oh look, there's one. I was just looking everywhere, and it was only when I came to bolt the door last night I saw the blindingly obvious. I did wedge the door shut last night. That's the visitors entrance, the south entrance, so I'm just going to unlock that now. Got wheelchair access, steps, just undone the doors. You can see there's like a bird door. It says please keep door closed to avoid trapping birds inside the church. Reminds me of last Saturday at Purton. I got that bird out in the end actually. Just switch them all off now because there's plenty of light coming in. When you book, you get a PDF document once you've paid or paid the deposit. And it just tells you everything, including how to gain access, what the facilities are. It just advises you how they want you to leave the church. And it did suggest wedging that door shut last night, which, you know, just made sense. I didn't want anyone coming in during the night. And of course, I got the key to the one out there that I will be locking up when I leave. Oh, wow, look at all the colours reflecting. Oh, yeah, that's off that window there. All these crypts and tombs. That's what I like about churches, really. As I said, I don't find them spooky in the slightest because they're like time capsules. And you can just let your mind wander and drift back to days gone by. Wow, look at that. Anyway, I feel like I've got myself organised, ready to start thinking about leaving. So I can just go and spend at least another hour out on that seat. And the sun's up as well, so I'm really warm out there in the sunshine. Oh, I need to switch those off as well. Okay, so that bank down there by the door does all of that. And this one here just does the porch. I'll put that back on just before I leave, just to make sure I don't forget anything small. Then back out in this gorgeous churchyard. The toilet, what I really like, I discovered that when I first went camping. Even the doors have got like ecclesiastical arches, is that the right description? That's me pretty much packed up. That's the food eating and preparation area, washing up. Just giving everything a really good wipe down, including my hands. Just got my glasses and contact lenses put away. Then I'll have a final sweep round just to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Then I'll switch all the lights out and then leave the church as they've asked me to. It's 9:25 and I'm all packed up, ready to go. I've bagged all my rubbish up, even though they supply bins. I've just bunged it at the back of my bike, as I would do wild camping. Just dispose of that at the first opportunity. My train ticket is booked for 3:14 this afternoon. Got ample time just to linger and stop and stare. I'm staying here till bang on 10 o'clock. I just really don't want to leave until I have to. I've done all the security requirements. It's not tedious, basically just locked it up, made it secure, made sure all the lights are switched off. I've secured the north entrance and I've also reopened the south entrance. That's for the public for access between 10 AM and 4 PM. So I've booked my train ticket. I've had a quick look at my route. I'm just going to sit here now for the next 30 minutes before I head off. Back up there. And then I'll be firing up the Garmin and just following a straight line. It's been a fantastic experience. It still is actually. It's just gone 10 AM. Put the mats back on the seat. I'm just heading off from this lovely location. I'm in short sleeves and shorts, which is wonderful. I was yesterday afternoon after a bit of an overcast start. It's warm already actually. So, just reluctantly leaving, but I can't recommend this place highly enough actually. If churches are your thing, this is just a superb one to spend the night at. It really was fantastic last night. Wonderful memory. car just arrived, unbolted that gate, and they're driving along the track with their farm workers or to do with the church, I'm not sure. Gave them a nice smile. That's what I turned up to last night. Oh, it's just such fantastic experience getting here, you know, just as the evening was cooling down, you started to get that early evening sort of change in atmosphere, and just this road literally just ends here and turns into a drive up to that farm behind me, and then coming down there, the only thing that passed me was a farm vehicle which must have been going in there, and that's all that's come down this morning. It looks like farm vehicles going in and out. So I'm going to be heading off there. I'm going to finish the video here, I think, unless anything happens of note on my way back to Tewkesbury. Hope you've enjoyed coming along. This has been a bit of a dry run for my holiday next year. I've discussed it before, but I'm starting off my home in Bath, 365-mile ride up to York, and I'm following this corridor of thankful villages. I plotted the route out over the winter. I really enjoyed doing that, you know, the desktop research on a sort of cold winter sort of Saturday afternoon. I'll be leaving from Bath, and there's 16 thankful villages I'm going to explore, and I'm taking my tent. I'm going to be camping, or I'll just play it by ear really. Then the final night in York, I've got a travel lodge, and then I've booked my bike and myself onto the train down to Parkway the next morning, and then I'll just ride from Parkway back to Bath, avoid me going through Temple Meads at rush hour. So you can sort of see this is like a mini trial run for that really. Anyway, for now, thanks very much for watching. See you soon.